All right, hi everyone. This video is going to discuss the things you need to know for Module 2. Now, in Module 1, you started by reading Chapter 1, and you had some preliminary assignments to do, but you will not have had a chapter quiz yet. That'll happen in Module 2. And in Module 2, we're going to cover Chapters 1 and 2 on that chapter quiz. So if you haven't read Chapter 1 yet, make sure that you get that read so that you can prepare for the quiz. And then Chapter 2 also brings with it your first of 5 Excel challenges. So I'm going to navigate through our textbook and through Blackboard in order to ensure that you know where to go for all of this material. So I'm going to turn on screen share, and then I'm going to bring up the course as it should be, as you should see it. Give me one moment. All right, so you should see something like this when you first launch Blackboard. And on the left side, you will go to your learning modules. You should have already found this, otherwise might not have found this video, but I'm going to be linking this video on the announcements page as well. So Module 2 will be right here. And in Module 2, you'll have the Excel challenge here. You'll also have the quiz. Now, the quiz will go live on Monday, or possibly sooner than that. Not live right now, but there will be a chapter quiz here that covers Chapters 1 and 2. The plan is for it to launch Monday morning. So in the meanwhile, the Excel challenge, you've got instructions on how to navigate to the page in our textbook that has information on it. And so let's do that now. So if we click this option right here, it's going to take us to our textbook. And you can navigate through your textbook on the left side here by expanding any one of the subsections. So Chapter 2 Excel challenge is right here, and I can expand this by hitting the plus sign. Now I've got an overview. I've got information on editing, entering, and managing data, information on how to format and do data analysis, information on printing. This is important because your file needs to be centered for printing. That'll be an option you'll have to select as one of the steps. And then you'll have a practice. After you've done all this and you feel comfortable, then you can start on the scored assessment. Now, if you feel relatively good with Excel, you could start on the scored assessment. And then as you're reading each of the steps, you could review and find where to do each of the steps. That's an option. I'm not going to tell you how to do coursework in whatever order, but if you are not as familiar with Excel, it would behoove you to go through these in order so that you can learn the material before you get started. The scored assessment, this is the actual file you'll download. It says download data file SC1 data. You'll download this, and then you'll do steps 1 through 32 in order. And it's important on this last step where it says submit the SC1 sales inventory workbook as directed by your instructor. Each one of these steps is worth points. And so this tells you to rename it as SC1 sales and inventory, not SC1 data. So this tells you how to name it initially, but then submitting it as directed by your instructor refers to this right here. Prior to submitting, you must add underscore last name, underscore first name. So for example, mine would be SC1 sales and inventory underscore Vickers underscore Brian. That should be the name of my file. So that is one of the steps, is labeling it correctly by adding your last name and first name to the document before you submit it, okay? So you'll go through each of the steps. And I'm not going to go through this file, but I am going to go through the practice file just to show you a couple of the steps and how you would go about doing them. But for instance, it tells you in the worksheet after you download the file and open it. All right, so download the file, open the file. And then when you open it, you have just the raw data, right? No formatting whatsoever has been done to it, okay? And then if I look at the instruction that tells me the first thing I should do is enter the word totals in cell C14, okay? So I would go to C and then 14, and I would see right here is where it asked me to write the word totals, okay? And then once I do that, and I write it the way it's instructed on here, then I go to the next step, and then I go to the next step. And because some of the steps require that there be information there already before you edit them, it would not make sense to go out of order. So I would recommend not skipping from 8 till 9, until you figured out how to do step 8, right? How you figured out how to delete the column, and then not setting the alignment until after you've made this entire range bold, right? So don't move on to one step until you're done with the other. And while there's 32 steps, once you're comfortable with it, some of these steps take you 5 seconds. You could easily, with experience, do this entire assignment in 10 minutes or less. So 32 steps may seem like a lot, but there's not a lot of actual work in each step, right? Once you figure out how to delete column F, it's as simple as 1 click, 2 clicks. Yeah, 2 clicks, I think, of your mouse is all it would take to delete the column. So not a lot of time consuming, but very important that you don't skip steps. So let's look at the practice. And the practice is the same kind of setup as the scored assessment as well, right? You download the data, and then you do one step at a time once it opens. So it takes a second to open here. There it is. You need to click Enable Editing before you can edit anything. And then I'm going to go ahead and put these side by side with the instructions by jumping it to the right side of my screen. And then I'm going to follow on the steps. So open the file, name it PR1 data, save it as that. I'm going to save it as that at the end. That's the one exception. I'm not going to save it because I'm not going to keep this file. But all right, activate all the cell locations by clicking Select All button in the upper left corner of the worksheet. So by clicking right here, I can highlight every single cell, and you can see all of the numbers along the left side, all the letters along the top side are highlighted. Now in the Home tab, select the font style and select Arial. So if I wanted to, one second, pin this to the bottom. So sorry, my screen share was in the way from Zoom, which you probably can't see. So I need to click this drop down, and then I would choose Arial, and I can scroll down until I find Arial, and now all of my text is going to be in Arial font. So if I ever want to change all font to a certain thing, I can highlight it that way. It's not in the book, but the other way you can select everything is by holding Control and then hitting the A button. Control A is Control All. If you're on a PC, if you're on a Mac operating system, I believe it's Option button and A. I could be mistaken there. Sometimes it's like Option Shift and then A instead of a Control button. Anywho, clicking here does it as well. So we've changed the font to Arial, and we also want to change the font size to 12 points. Okay, so I'm going to click here again, and instead of 11, I'm going to change it to 12. And let's say I wanted to change it to 13. I could click here, and I could edit it to whatever number I want to. 12 is the next option. Okay, so that's this, and then click anywhere else to deselect. So I click out of it, and now I haven't selected all of them. Now I can go to the next step. Increase the width of column A so that all the entries in A3 through A8 are visible. You can see how medications is the word here, but I can't read medications. So I need to increase the width at least to, it says it wants me to do to approximately width of 18. So that's a width of 18. The number of pixels will vary based on the resolution of your screen. So that's done. I did that by clicking the little line between A and B, right? So to the right of A, there's a little line. I click that, and that lets me adjust the width. Enter Q1 in cell B2. So B2 is right here, and I'm going to write Q1. And then use autofill to complete the headings in C2 through E2. So C2 is right here. E2 is right here, and I want to complete the headings by using autofill. So I can click here and then drag from the bottom right. So I'm going to click here, and then the very bottom right, you can see how my cursor changes from a white cross to a black one. Now I can select that and drag it over from that spot, and it's going to try to increase the number by 1. It saw the number 1, and it's going to assume I want to go 2, 3, 4. Without knowing anything else, Excel makes assumptions. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong, but in this case, it's right. Activate cell B2 and place the mouse cursor. Okay, so we did that already. now I want to select the range B2 through E2, which is here. And I want to format, click the column width option and type 1157. So I'm going to click under, well, this is a good, I've never, see here, format cells, and then never do it this way. I'm glad I'm doing it. All right, I actually don't know this option other than selecting this way, so that's fun. Column width, let me make it larger. Format, there it is. And then column width, there we are right there. I've never used this option before. It's my first time going through the practice, so you get to see how even an experienced Excel user can find new ways of doing things. A lot of times you have two options, like I could select all of these and drag until I got to 1157. That's how I normally would do it, right? I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to do it this way. So drag these and go to under Cells, Format, Column Width, and I'm going to type 11.57. All right, very cool. Glad to have learned that. All right, so then we've got, all right, enter the words medical office budget in cell A1, okay? Medical office budget. Insert a blank column between A and B. All right, so I can click any cell in column B, and then says to click the insert button on the home tab. So I go to insert, and I'm going to insert a column, and there we are. Right between where A and B was, there's a new column B. Another way of doing that, it'd be to right click the letter B up top and then hitting insert. That would also do it. So either way gets you there. Okay. Enter the words budget cost in cell B2. So B2 says budget cost. Adjust the width of column B to approximately 12 characters. So drag this to 12. That doesn't seem wide enough. 12 characters. Interesting. Format. Column width. Well, I can't see the entirety of budget cost, which makes me think that this, by saying 12 characters, should be fitting, because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 11 characters, really, but anyway, it says approximately, so I'm going to go to 1243 so that it all fits. All right. Select A1 through F1, so that's this entire top row, and then click Merge and Center. So that button is right here. Well, it's a lot different when it's scrunched up. I'm used to it just being its own button right here under alignment. So if you have it full screen, you'll see it automatically if you have a large enough screen. If you're on a laptop, it might not be, you might have to click alignment first. So if you've got it on a smaller screen, you'll see it like this. You'll see alignment, and then it's this one right here. Make the following format adjustments to A1 through F1. So that's this entire cell. I want to bold, italics, and 14 point. I'm also going to change the fill color and change the font color. All right, so this step actually has multiple steps inside it. So let's look at it one at a time. We've got bold. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to click bold. Italics. I'm going to click italics. Change the font size to 14. 14. Change the cell fill color to aqua accent 5 darker. So this all refers to one color. And so I'm going to click here, and then if you click this drop down next to the bucket, looks like a bucket pouring paint, it will give us a list. And if I leave my arrow hovering over it for a second, it tells me what that color is. You can see there's a color, a number, lighter, darker, right? So aqua, darker, aqua accent 5, darker 25, is that what it said? Let me double check here. Darker 50, okay. So that'd be this one right here, aqua accent by darker 50. That's the color we want. And there's one more step there. And then change the font color to white. So you can see if you use a darker color background, it's often hard to see black text on it. It's not very visible, especially if your screen brightness was turned down. Or based on screen quality or your eyesight, if you're wearing your readers or wearing your glasses, right? It would be really hard to maybe see that clearly. By changing the font color to white, we get a good contrast. Now it's a lot easier to read that. You should be mindful when you're making spreadsheets in general, and I don't know how much this is covered in here, but just be mindful of color contrast, right? Light to dark, not light and light. Like I wouldn't want to do bright yellow with white. That's an assault on the eyes, right? I wouldn't want to do that. Increase the height of row 1 to approximately 24.75. Okay. And then, second. All right, here we are. So we were on 24.75 height, done. Make the following format adjustment to the range A2 through F2. So A2 through F2 is all of A or all of row 1 and 2, A through F. And I want to adjust this by making it bold. I'm going to click bold twice. And the reason I'm doing that is because this top one was already bold. Oh, I'm sorry. A2 through F2. I thought I said A1 through F2. So here we are. A2 through F2. All right. Bold. Fill the color to tan. Background to darker 10. Okay, so it looks like this one. Tan. Background to darker 10. There we are. Here we are. Let's see here. Okay. So that's not quite fitting. Let me adjust that a little bit. There. All right. We've got that as tan. And now center the column titles. They're horizontally centered. So I'm going to highlight all of these. And then right here, I'm going to center the content so that they're in the center of each of those. That's centered horizontally. I could center vertically with this button here. Select B2 and choose wrap text. Okay, so that's what I was missing. That's why the size was fine at 12. See, I made that change thinking it wouldn't fit, but we're going to make it fit right here. So I'm going to click this one right here. I was worried the whole time. I was looking, what am I doing wrong on this column width of 12? That's what I was looking up in their screen. But I see why, because we're going to make this wrap. So right here where it says AB and then a down arrow to C, that's wrap text. And now it fits. So the character width of 12 works for this. I personally think it's better to center these vertically as well. So let's see if that asks us to do that. Doesn't look like it's going to. So, if I was making a adjustment on my own, I would say it would, because we are on 2 lines here, it'd be better to click this as well. I think that looks better personally, but we'll leave it as is. Wrap text, increase the row to approximately 30 points. Well, it had to go to 31.5 automatically to fit, so we're going to leave it there. Copy, well, yes, it's increased to 30, but I did it to 31.5 on its own. 30 is fine. Copy cell C3 and paste the contents into D3 through F3. So C3, copy this. So I'm gonna hold Control and press C. I could also hit right click and then hit copy, highlight all of these, right click and hit paste. This is paste the value only in case it was a formula. This is paste the contents. This is paste the formula only. I can transpose it. I can make, I can copy 4 numbers across and want to paste it, have them go down. This just paste the formatting only. So if this background was yellow and I copied it and pasted it, I would just paste that the background is yellow. I wouldn't paste the information. And otherwise I can paste a link to that cell, but I'm going to just paste normally. So I'm going to hit Control C, highlight, and hit Control V to paste. We're going to go to, where are we at next? Click the paste button in. Okay, so it actually wanted us to hit the button up here so you see that. So I can hit copy, highlight all of these, and then hit the paste button. I've never used the button before up here. There's a paste button. Oh, of course, it's that giant button right there. It's interesting when you're looking at this from someone who just uses keyboard shortcuts like I do. Like I wouldn't even think to look up there. Like, copy this and go and paste it everywhere. Do it with the keyboard. So Control C is a quick shortcut to copy. Control X will cut. Control V will paste. And then same options, but Command if you're on a Mac. Okay. Calculate the total button for all 4 quarters for the salaries. Click cell B3 and click the down arrow on the auto sum button. Click the sum option from the drop down, then highlight the cell C3 through F3 and press enter. All right, so we're just going to do an auto sum, and this budget of salaries is going to be C3 through F3. So the budget cost is going to be everything here. And we do that by clicking on auto sum, down arrow, sum, and then highlight these 4 here. 120,000 was the cost of all 4 quarters. And then we should be able to copy this down and have it do it for us, but let's see here. Yep, copy the formula in B3 and paste them into B. So same formula, we want it all the way down to B8. Same formula, just copying everything across for us. Format B3 through F8 with accounting format 0 decimal places. Any of the cells display pound symbols. What that is saying is that it can't show everything. So you need to make it wider so it shows all the numbers. Anytime if I have numbers here and I make this too small, I get these numbers to show, hey, you need to make this bigger. There's a number here, but we can't display the whole thing. Okay. So I'm gonna do both of that. I need to highlight all of this, and it wants us to do accounting format. So I'm going to click this drop down under number. I'm going to change it to accounting. You can see here I've got a bunch of numbers not displaying, but I'm also showing 2 decimal places, and it asked us to show it with 0 decimal places, I believe. 0 decimal places. So I'm going to start while I still have it highlighted, and I'm going to reduce the number of decimal places by clicking this button, decrease decimal, 1, 2, and now I've taken out the decimal places. So everything will display after all. If I had jumped the gun and made them bigger first, then I would be making them smaller again after I reduced the decimal places. So it says accounting format with no decimal places showing. If you wanted to get it to accounting, I could also click the $sign that will jump to that option. I could also click here and then go to more accounting functions and then down arrow twice, 0 decimal places, $sign, accounting, hit OK. So now it still calls it accounting, but it's accounting with 0 decimal places. There's a few options in doing that to reduce the decimals down to 0. So hopefully one of those works for you. Select the range A1 through F8. So that's everything. Click the down arrow next to the borders, select all borders. So borders is right here. You can see there's a down arrow, and then I can click all borders. So now I've got borders on everything, looking more like a table. Pretty easy to tell what everything is. We've got double click the sheet 1 worksheet to change the name, and we're going to change it to the word budget. So sheet 1, I'm going to double click down here at the very bottom, sheet 1, and I'm going to type budget. Delete any unnecessary worksheet. So sheet 2 is not in play. Sheet 3 is not in play. So I can left click it, right click it, and then hit delete. Left click, right click, delete. And now we just have the budget only as the only worksheet. Now I want to change the orientation so it prints landscape instead of portrait mode. So that's going to be under page layout. And I go to orientation, and I'm going to click landscape mode. And if you see, because I did something with the printer, you have these tiny little dotted lines that have appeared all the way down, showing me the printable area. And use fit to one page so that the budget worksheet prints on one sheet of paper if it does not already. So it's possible that this might be on 2 sheets of paper, but I'm still going to set it to print on 1 page. A few ways I can do that. I can go to the print tab. And then right here under scaling, I can do fit sheet on 1 page. So a few options, that's one of them. You might see a different option in the book, but that's one of them under the print tab. And let's see here. What's the next one? Add a header that shows the date in the upper left corner and your name in the center. Okay, so if we want it to be today's date and always be today's date, there's various functions in order to achieve that. I believe in your actual assignment, you want it to auto update the date so that it's a reusable template. That's a little bit different than having it always to display today's date. So I'm going to show you both ways you can do that based on the scenario and what it asks you to do. But it says the date in the top left and your name in the center, and then a footer that shows the page number in the lower right corner. All right. So we're going to go to insert, and we're going to go to header and footer. And it says the date in the top left. So I could write and date, and this will automatically, oops, and it's weird, and date, and it'll automatically give us today's date. So whatever date it currently is, it will always be that date when I open it. Now, because this file is a medical budget that's done at one time, it should probably be set to today's date, which would just be something like that. But you do need to know the and date function, because why does it keep doing it? Yeah. The and date function will always just whatever today's date it'll do. And you can do that by clicking here, current date. Okay. Here we want it, I think it was said to ask to put our name there, I believe, in the middle. Name in the center, okay. And then in the bottom right, we want the page number. So under footer, we can do left, middle, or center. We want to be on the header and footer tab, and I can just click that page number. Now let's say I wanted it to also show the word page. So the and with the brackets around it and the word page will just is just a symbol that it uses to note that it's an actual function. Oops. So it's just going to give us the page number only. But if I wanted the word page, I would need to type the word page and then a space first. And now it's going to say page 1. So the page is just the text, and then the 1 is what page I'm currently on based on the formula. So I believe your actual assignment asks you to type page, the word page, and the number. You know, we'd need to do it this way. And I think it just probably looks better in general. All right, I can I can go back to page layout and go back, or sorry, view and go back to normal to get out of that. A few ways to get out of it. And then Got the footer, shows the page number in the lower right corner. Check the spelling, make any necessary changes. Looks good, but I can do a spell check by hitting, selecting all of the text, going to review and clicking spelling, spell check complete, good to go. All right, so we've checked the spelling, save it. All right, so I'm gonna save this file. One second. Oh, I just realized it popped up on my other screen when I hit save for some reason. All right, so I'm gonna go to, let me drag it back over here. File save as, and then remember we need to save it as a certain file name. So PR1 medical office budget, but PR1 medical office budget is what it tells you to do, as directed by an instructor would be last name underscore first name. So got that in the wrong folder, I might add. It's saved in my gaming management folder. All right, and that's that. And then we would submit it to Blackboard. So that is the full practice. Practice along anything you weren't clear on. The answers to how to do any of these steps in the practice or on your actual challenge are going to be somewhere in here. So printing, I showed you one way to do the print setup. I know there's another way of doing it. Yeah, it's under margins. Yeah, under margins, print area. Okay. So I went to the print tab to do it, but there's a few ways of doing that one. We can go here and going to page layout, margins, custom margins, going to page, fit to one page right here. So again, that's from the home tab, go to page layout, margins, custom margins. So if you want to center it, so where you print it centered, which I think is one of your assignments, that's located here under margins, custom margins, and then make sure you got both of those checked. You can see how it moved all those centered. And then to do on one page, you go to page and fit to this many pages. Hit OK. All right, that should be all for that Excel assignment. And then make sure that you are doing the Excel challenge and not turning in the Excel practice. You do not turn in the Excel practice at all. That is just for you to make sure that you got it down. If you want to follow along with this video, it's the scored assessment, chapter 2 scored assessment. The file name is SC1 data. You'll end up calling it SC1 sales and inventory. It's 32 prompts long. So that is this week's. I'm not likely to make an additional video for future modules. So, but this will cover what you'll need to know in order to read your textbook, to find the chapters, and to find all of the information about your Excel challenges. Thanks, everyone. Please contact me by email if you have any questions whatsoever. Thank you.